Alright, so tanks in the street in St. Louis, and all kinds of urban warfare drills taking place all over the country. I want to know, why is this taking place, and I want to break down some actual facts and separate it from the fiction of, is this the military, the Pentagon, the criminal US government getting ready for war against the American people? Let's find out. Hey everybody, what's going on? Baby for Liberty, Internet Anchorman TV. Okay, yeah, before in that intro, I did just say the criminal US government because our government has been hijacked by the banking cartels. And like I explained in the video last week, it is a receivership, right? Just like in a real estate situation where they appoint the receivership to take over the property, collect all the rents, pay whatever bills there may be. But the actual owner of record, they lose all rights over the property, right? It's court appointed, the receiver is appointed by the court. That's what's happening in America right now. They have used the US military in destabilization campaigns across the country, across the world. Really, you can see it taking place now in Syria, but in Libya, across to Northern Africa, the Middle East. And remember, it's not even countries that have had actual war breakout or have even toppled their current dictator regime. It's all these NGOs that you have, these organizations that are promoting democracy around the world, being funded by your taxpayers to push communist socialist revolution in these countries. Again, not just in Northern Africa and the Middle East, but all over Eastern Europe. People like George Soros are behind it. Rand Paul's Trevor Olson, one of his main consultants, worked for the Institute of International Republic Affairs or some crap like that. So it is a concentrated, all-out effort on transitioning America into being part of this new global governance that's breaking out. Now, I want to get into all the facts of the urban warfare drills that are taking place, tanks that were just rolling down the street in St. Louis, the urban warfare drills taking place all over America for years now. And I guess I should have prefaced this with this. I have been following mainstream media, I've been following alternative media for some time now. I just didn't get into this, okay? I've been doing it since I was really a kid. And I have never seen the US military, other than training on military bases in America, being used in the streets, openly saying the American people are the enemy. The MIAC report identifying Ron Paul supporters, pro-gun supporters, anti-abortion activists as the enemy. The Department of Homeland Security running commercials where it's the white people are the terrorists and it's the, everybody else is, the people that are snitching on, I guess, the terrorists that might have the suitcase bomb or whatever it may be. Very bizarre, but this is all scripted. Going back to a very famous quote, and I'm paraphrasing, by FDR, which that politics is all planned. There is no accidental history. It is all scripted. It is all planned. Just like they talked about in the Derek Collett conspiracy book. 2 points of view of history. The historians that believe that history happens by accident, it's just an event that all of a sudden Syria shot down the Turkish jet, and now today Turkey's meeting with NATO, or Turkey as a NATO country is meeting with the rest of NATO to plan a response, or, just accidental that someone blew John F. Kennedy's head off. No, this is planned. It is scripted. The elites and the banking cartels that are part of the elites, the wealthy families, they run all of this and they're scripting it. So what is the script now for the urban warfare drills taking place in America? Just the other day, you had tanks rolling down the street in St. Louis. I mean, literally, the people in St. Louis, northern St. Louis, were alarmed, as they should be, when they saw big Abrams tanks rolling down the streets, wondering why that's taking place. Well, no real response was given other than, we're just doing some drills, we're prepping, we're practicing. A few weeks ago, or a few months ago, I covered the Utah Data Center. Utah Data Center is over 1 million square feet. It's gigantic. It's being built out into in kind of the boonies in Utah, and ex-national intelligence advisors, people from the NCAA, people from the CIA that have left the agency, are now speaking out as whistleblowers, even though their lives are being threatened by Obama, by this administration, by the people that run this administration for speaking out. They're saying that the Utah data center is basically going to track everything you do. Every call you make, every purchase, everything. The websites you visit, everything. Now, I can look at that and I can say, okay, well, why is that taking place? Because the war against terrorism by this administration has ended. I mean, that's what they ended a couple months ago. They said the war on terror is over, right? So if you want to buy that narrative, even though you're more likely to be hit by lightning or die by a honeybee sting or get hit by a car than you are to die in a terrorist attack, even though you want to buy that narrative, let's just say, okay, but the war, they claim the war on terror is over. So why the Utah Data Center to follow and track everything Americans do? Very troubling. Why the push for having U.S. troops train in U.S. cities? Because it's not just in St. Louis. At the beginning of this year, there was a full-blown multi-agency training taking place in Los Angeles that broke out. Just a couple months ago, there was citizens in Miami being woken up by Black Hawk helicopters, booming sounds taking place as they were practicing the invasion of the shoreline there in Miami Beach. Okay? In Tampa, just last month, they had multi-special combat troops from around the world, different countries, training in downtown Tampa, in all kinds of different drills and activities taking place. Hillary Clinton was down here. It was a big deal, okay? If you remember, leading up to the NATO summit in Chicago, we had Black Hawk helicopters, dressed in black commandos, flying in, coming down on cables, landing on roofs. Everybody's like, what the hell's going on? Freaking out the people that live in the city. Again, no response. Now, on the outskirts of San Diego, they have built a gigantic, I think it's 170 acres, it was a $170 million project that was built on the outskirts of San Diego. It is a mock city. It's like a ghost town in China, which, a lot of people like to talk about the ghost cities in China. What about the big city they built on the outskirts of San Diego? $170 million that American taxpayers paid for. And it's not like villages in Iraq and Afghanistan, right? They have those already set up. In Camp Pendleton in California, they put in a 30 million Afghani-like village where they can train the troops who are fighting overseas. No, this is an American city they have built on the outskirts of San Diego. All of the troops, Department of Homeland Security, the commandos, the SWAT team, the Navy SEALs, all of them are practicing urban warfare drills in this city. Why is that taking place? And doesn't our government have a responsibility to the American people of saying, hey, guys, this is what we're ready for. This is what we're doing. This is what we're preparing for. Now, I've said all along, these stories are not disconnected. They're all connected, right? You can't just look at the economy and say, oh, the economy, Dow Jones up 200, and Ben Bernanke might do another round of QE3. No. All of that is connected with the 45 plus million people on food stamps. The fact that we have wealth in this country being totally destroyed because of the policies of the Federal Reserve and the big banking cartels. You have people being evicted on any given night in America. Any given night, there are over 20 million vacant homes in America. All of this is connected. Dollar devaluation taking place. Now we're seeing the deflationary trend, but then we'll see the inflation because of the amount of money that will be created by the ECB, by the Federal Reserve, and by the IMF. So, why the urban warfare drills? Because they know what's coming. And this is going to be part one of another video. Part two is coming up right now of what they're getting ready for and why you are the enemy. I'm Fabian for Liberty. Quick break. Be back in a second.